Hello and welcome to episode number 7 of our 3rd season of That's So Auburn. I'm Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, and today I'm joined by Valley Regional Fire Authority Chief Brad Thompson. Now, why is he on the show today? Because we want to talk about fire safety, fire preparedness, and fill you in on some of the recent happenings at the Fire Authority, which services Auburn in addition to Algona and Pacific. Chief Thompson began his firefighting career in 1999 at the then-Auburn Fire Department, and since that time he's worked his way through the ranks, gaining experience in nearly every facet of the fire service, from public education to technical rescue to planning and logistics. He was appointed fire chief in 2021 and brings with him not only a deep understanding of our local communities, but also a strong focus on collaboration, communication, and innovation. He's here today to share some insights, offer some practical tips to keep you and your family safe, and give us a behind-the-scenes look at the incredible work being done by VRFA. Welcome to the show, Chief.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm really excited to be here. It's quite an honor to be invited to be on a podcast. I didn't think I'd ever do anything interesting enough to be on a podcast, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, you're the fire chief. Of course, you do something interesting every day, and all of the great work that's done at VRFA. So I am really thrilled and honored to have you here as a guest. So let's start with some of the basics. Can you give us a quick overview of Valley Regional Fire Authority and who it serves?
Absolutely. And first of all, let me just say how much of a gift I feel for it is to be the fire chief of this wonderful community-driven organization full of just amazing people. There really are amazing people that make up this organization, and you know that.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get into it later, but I didn't set out to be fire chief. Honestly, I just wanted to come in and help people in a direct way. But through a chain of events, here I am. So I couldn't be more proud of the opportunity to serve this community, though, in the role that I'm in. And thank you for your support in that.
Well, thank you, Chief. You do a great job. Proud to have you serving as the chief of VRFA, and it does cover a larger community than the Auburn Fire Department did when you first started.
Yeah, so let me go into that a little bit. The VRFA was established by a vote of the citizens of Auburn, Algona, and Pacific in 2007, and we provide the fire, rescue, emergency medical services, and community risk reduction services to the cities of Auburn, Algona, and Pacific. We are what's called a regional fire authority. And so for your listeners who don't know what that means, well, fun fact is we were the first regional fire authority in the state. That's right, huh? Something to be proud of. So we're the first in the state. But what a regional fire authority is it's an independent municipal corporation focused solely on providing the services to the communities in our jurisdiction. To provide a comparison, we are a special taxing district. A simple comparison, although it's not exactly the same, would be similar to a school district. So we operate independently of the cities. When the voters approved our formation, we moved actually from being a department of the city of Auburn to what we are and the city of Pacific.
Right.
Yeah. I think the city of Auburn, I know that they provided the fire service to Algona under contract before our formation. So that's in 2007, that's when we became the Valley Regional Fire Authority, and that's how we exist today, serving those communities, some unincorporated areas of Kane County. Something else I'd like to highlight is beyond emergency response, and this is important to me, and I'm sure we'll talk about it throughout the podcast, but we place a strong emphasis on proactive community risk reduction services. And that's a little bit of a mouthful, but I'll help you understand what that is so your listeners understand. Those things are fire inspections, our school safety programs, our programs that help seniors for, making sure their homes are safe and so they're not tripping and falling, other high-risk populations. So we want to prevent emergencies whenever possible, because the safest call is the one that we never have to go on.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Yeah. That's an excellent way to say that. It's the safest call is the one that we never have to go to. It's kind of a little bit like Wayne Gretzky. I miss 100% of the shots I don't take, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there. So you were appointed chief back in 2021, but as I mentioned, you've been with the fire service for well over 2 decades.
That's right.
you're not old. You're not implying anything like that.
That's a debate.
Oh, you're not as old as me. What's inspired you to become a firefighter, and what has that journey looked like since? I know you said you were never expecting to be chief, but you have done an amazing job in your leadership roles. So what got you into the fire service to begin with, and what did that journey look like for you?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for asking. I was really raised in a family that valued public service. Both of my parents, it seemed like, I was a child of the 70s and 80s and remember the term latchkey kid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I am the definition of a latchkey kid because every time I came home, both my parents were at separate meetings in serving their community in some different way. My dad had a lifelong career in civil service, and he was also a Navy veteran, so fully retired. And my mom served on all sorts of boards across Pierce County, actually, and the state of Washington. So that desire to give back to the community was instilled in me at a very early age. After I graduated from college, I wasn't one of those people that was lucky enough to know when I was 7 years old that I wanted to be a firefighter. After I graduated from college, I had a business degree because I think that's the degree some people get when they really don't know what they want to do.
But it's a good basic.
Oh, yes. And I've relied on that,
Yeah.
throughout my career. Actually, it's been very helpful. But I went into commercial sales, and what I discovered through that is I wanted a career where I could fulfill that need and that immediate impact of helping people. We need good salespeople. I'm not taking anything away from that career choice. And there's other ways to give back to your communities.
Absolutely.
But I really needed to feel that in my personality, that immediate impact where I can make a real difference in someone's life. Sometimes on their very worst day, right? So yes, I feel like it's a privilege. And I don't really want to use the word privilege and honor too much, but that's really the soul of why I love this work. It's a privilege and honor to help people when they really are in their most vulnerable moments. And that's the key to the trust that we have with the community as well. Because when we walk into someone's house, they are trusting us implicitly for help. And that's really unique in today's world, I think. So I
can feel that. And I mean, I've known you for quite a while, but I can really feel that sense with you that there is that desire to help, and you're proud of the work that you have been able to accomplish over your career and to help mentor the younger firefighters and those who may see themselves in your role someday or may not have any idea that that's their ultimate place that they're going to end up serving. But I've always had that sense about you, Chief. That,
well, thank you.
Yeah. That it is something that is a passion and a calling for you.
It certainly is. And to talk a little bit about my journey as the second part of that question, I've always been a curious person. And I think I've asked you this before, but you're a Ted Lasso fan?
Oh, yes.
So am I. And we're both soccer fans. So
yes.
Isn't that great? But I'm not talking about the soccer part of Ted Lasso. You'll recall the episode where he's playing darts.
That is my favorite, my absolute favorite.
Yep. And what did he talk about in that one?
Be curious, not judgmental.
Right? And not judgmental. So the curious part I really want to focus in on. I've always been a very curious person, and that curiosity led me to seek out a wide range of opportunities in the fire service. For the first part of my career, I was really devoted to public education. I was out in the schools. We have a very robust program for our schools throughout our school districts, where we go into the classrooms and teach fire safety to all of the kids from 2nd through 6th grade. From there, I got into a lot of committees on local and statewide health and safety initiatives for firefighters, because the work does take a toll, and we can talk about that if you'd wish, but it does take a toll. From there, I also went into technical rescue because that was an area that I was really curious about, and quite frankly, I was a little intimidated to become a dive rescue technician, a river rescue technician, a high-angle ropes technician. Those are really specific and very technical jobs in the fire service. So all of these. Oh, from there, though, I'd like to mention, you said planning and logistics, and that's absolutely true. And that led me to data analytics. Oh. So when I got into the technical work, I was wondering, wait a minute, when someone calls 911, who determines who shows up and what skill sets they have?
Perfect
right?
question.
And we use data and analytics in order to make sure that we're sending the right resources to the calls that need those resources, those very specific resources. So a hazmat call, well, that's going to need a certain number of hazmat technicians. So when you start peeling back the layers of the onion, there's just so much behind it. And so that curiosity really gave me a broader view of the fire service in whole. And it's really helped prepare me for the leadership role that I'm in today. So it's a career that constantly evolves, and that's what I really love about it.
That is great. And this probably isn't a fair question to ask you, but do you have a favorite role that you've played?
Oh, my goodness. Should I say fire chief?
You can, sure. Can. I mean, you should be proud of that.
I am very proud of it. I will say that I got into the fire service for the lights and sirens, and that's going to be a recurring theme today. And I don't get to do that anymore, and I miss it. So I kind of live vicariously through the folks that do. There is just something about the camaraderie. When we're driving down the streets of Auburn or Algona or Pacific or wherever we are, the citizens interact with us. And we'll be having a conversation on our headsets when we're on our way back from an incident or something, and we're just kind of blowing off steam and joking around. And then you see just the eyes of a child or anybody in our community, regardless of age. They look at us, they catch their eyes, and they wave every time.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's just again, it's an honor and a privilege.
Yes, and you are not overusing that, because I can't even think of any other way to describe the work that's done in fire service, other than, I mean, it's scary. It can be dangerous, but I know you remove as much of the danger as possible because you've done those analytics, you've done the training, and you're experts. But there's something that I heard several years ago, and it was one of those, yeah, that's exactly it. Everyone else is running away from an emergency, and you're running in.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good description. I was talking to someone about this recently because in my role now, the problems are complex and not something, we just have to figure them out. And I say work the problem. That's kind of one thing. It's just let's work the problem instead of getting emotional about it. And the comparison is, when we get dispatched on an incident, we do get really good information from our partners at Valleycom.
Great people.
And I know that you've met with the director, Vonnie Mayer, recently on your podcast, and they're great partners. We get really good information from them, but we still don't know what we're walking into.
Sure.
So we have to have this attitude of, well, we're going to get there, or we're going to do it safely, but we're going to work the problem. And we try not to get emotional, because if you get emotional, it's, as you know, it's really hard to process information and make good, sound decisions. So that's the technique we use, and I try to apply that to bigger problems.
That's a great technique and skill to have, and it's not easy.
It's not.
I mean,
no.
There have to be some situations where it is really difficult to keep your emotions at bay.
That's right. There are. And I mentioned earlier that this job does take a toll. And we'll talk a little bit about some programs we have now to help us, both for the firefighters, health and safety, and also what we're doing for our community members. I hope we get to those. I think we will. But, the type of incidents that we go on, they do take a toll on our firefighters. Yeah. And, whether some of the calls, we don't feel like we have a lot of control when we're there. So, for instance, when we get there and it's a call that's involving children, that takes a toll. And it's not in the children's control. They didn't put themselves in that situation frequently. It's out of their hands. Another good example is when we go out on the freeway in the middle of the night. It's a really interesting feeling. When I say interesting, that I guess the definition of that would be you really have your guard up when you're on the freeways. We have a couple freeways running through our jurisdiction.
Yes.
And, one of my expressions I tell my kids is nothing good happens after midnight.
I heard that from my parents too.
Yeah, I did too, and I shared it with my kids. Standing in the middle of a freeway in the middle of the night, and our duty is to help folks that, regardless of their situation, and that's what we do. But, sometimes we're helping people that shouldn't have got behind the wheel to begin with.
Right.
And that's really frustrating because sometimes the people that get injured are not the people that caused the issue. That made the bad choice. And so those things really do take a toll. And I think later on in the podcast, we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing to take care of our firefighters and their mental well-being.
Yeah. If you want to talk about it now, we can, or we can wait till later. What would you prefer?
Well, I think it'll really dovetail nicely with some things that I want to talk about later on. Yeah.
Perfect. So what's something people might not realize about the work VRFA does beyond responding to fires and emergencies?
So most people think of fire departments, and there I go again. I called it a department. It's just old habits die hard, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yes. So
it's an endearing term.
It is, and it's an easy one for people to understand. Fire agencies, I guess, but we think of these agencies in terms of emergency response, right? Fires, medical calls, car accidents. Of course, that's a big part of what we do and what our citizens need us to do. But there's another side, and I mentioned it earlier, that's just as important, and that's community risk reduction. That includes those fire inspections, the code enforcement, where we work with your staff.
You work very closely and very well, I might add.
Thank you. Yes, we enjoy that relationship very much. We have public education programs. We work very closely with the Auburn School District. We have outreach efforts aimed at preventing emergencies before they happen. We offer safety presentations in schools. In fact, I did that, as you know. We install smoke alarms for residents that aren't capable of doing so on their own. Fall prevention resources for seniors. We really just want to make our community safer and more resilient. Another thing many people may not know, and if you see our fire trucks, you'll see a red, white, and blue sticker on them. And that means that the VRFA is an internationally accredited fire agency through the Center for Public Safety Excellence.
Which is something to be incredibly proud of.
We are incredibly proud of that fact, and we're one of only a handful of agencies in the state of Washington that carry that designation. In fact, we achieved that designation shortly after I became fire chief. I'll be careful there, though. I didn't get us there on our own. There is a team and almost an army of people in the VRFA that got us over the finish line there. But what it means is that we've undergone a rigorous third-party evaluation of our operations, our planning division, and really our performance and our ability to get to incidents in a certain amount of time. So accreditation really isn't just a title. It's a commitment to continuous improvement. It's based on data-driven decision-making and really transparency. It means we're transparent to our community members. For the community, it means we're held to a higher standard, and we're always working to improve the quality and the efficiency of the services we provide in the most efficient way possible. I can tell you when those folks came to visit us, that was the largest job interview I've ever been part of.
I would
imagine.
imagine.
They opened every drawer, and they looked at every single spoon and every fork and made sure the colander was clean, and then gave us, and then they go away for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, and then you have an interview in front of a board, and they ask you follow-up questions. And boy, that was something else to go through. But it makes you rise to the occasion. And soon we will also go through a reaccreditation process.
Is it as rigorous?
It is as rigorous, but now we know a little bit more, right? So our confidence is higher. I'll put it that way. Sets and reps. Every time you go through something, if you do it over and over again, you get more skilled and more confident in it. Yeah.
I remember watching online when the accreditation was finalized, and I couldn't have been prouder to watch and know all of the work that went into getting that accreditation. It was not a short-term process. It had been worked on for a significant amount of time.
That's right.
But to see the pride in the faces of those that were there that had been working on this process for the accreditation, it made me so happy and proud, right, that Auburn is part of the Valley Regional Fire Authority and that we have such good people who really do care about the communities that they serve in those roles and wanting to improve constantly.
That's right. And it's really the culture we've tried to set. And I think it leads to a lot of things. One of those really important things is succession planning because it helps us set the plan for the future. You know, all of us are temporary, right? But the fire service needs to be there regardless if we're occupying
24/7.
24/7, 365. We are kind of, not to be dramatic, we're kind of, the buck stops with us,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so we have to be prepared when different people move into different roles. We're still just marching along and following a really well thought out plan.
And I'm sure there are things that you do today that are much different than when you started in the fire service.
Absolutely, yes.
And you probably look back and think, oh my gosh, what were we thinking doing it that way back then?
Yeah, so I talked about analytics and call response areas a little bit earlier, but to be specific, when I started, we tried to figure out response times, and I'm not joking, that we put a map on the table.
The amoebas.
Yeah. And basically used a soup can to draw circles to see how far we were.
That is so high tech.
I know. We have a lot better tools now. I guarantee you that.
But it worked back then.
It sure did. Yeah. And actually they were very accurate. Station 31, our headquarters station, is in the perfect spot. It's in such a good spot. And we'll talk about our capital facilities, but it's in such a good spot that we need to keep adding.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about that capital facilities plan. I know there's been exciting progress on fire station projects. So what can you tell us about?
Well, our capital facilities plan is really in full swing. It's being led by Deputy Chief Tim Day, who's just really dedicated to this. And related to the previous question, the community we serve supports us in just amazing ways. Recently, we passed a capital facilities bond that will allow us to build 3 fire stations, a new headquarters. Our new headquarters will actually be not far from here. We recently purchased.
I can walk to the board meetings. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we can go to lunch more often.
That's right.
It's the previously owned by Cascade Orthopedics Medical Center. So we're going to start working on. We're already in the design and build phase on that right now. We are going to build a new maintenance garage for our apparatus to make sure that they're ready to respond on calls, a warehouse for storage, and a firefighter training facility.
Oh, that'll be really exciting. Our own training facility.
Oh my gosh, it's long overdue. Yeah. We broke ground on a new fire station, Station 36, earlier this year, and you were there for that. Yes. It's located, for your listeners, on 30th Street north, between Auburn Way North and I Street Northeast. So in the northern part of our jurisdiction, and this station will take a much-needed pressure off of Station 31, our current headquarters station, and it will help us to provide the growing north end of Auburn. You've seen all the building, there's so much growth, in addition to downtown, right?
Yes.
So the downtown core, in combination with that growth up north, has really driven our call volume, because where there's people, that's where calls occur. That's right. So we're looking forward to that opening next year. And in the near future, we will break ground on our new station that's going to serve Pacific and Algona. Our current station, we're co-located with Pacific Police Department, and it was designed for a volunteer department.
It's not a large facility.
It's not a large facility. So, and it's, quite frankly, it needs to move north a little bit. So we bought some property on Ellingson. We're in the design and build phase on that one right there too. It's going to be in a much better location to allow that fire engine to get to cover a greater area much more quickly. So they'll be able to get to the citizens in those corners of our jurisdiction much more efficiently. These stations will really provide a more effective distribution of our resources. They are being built to current seismic codes. And we know that we live in a valley that's, it's who knows when.
Correct.
But
it is a when, not an if.
And not an if, when we have some sort of seismic event. And these buildings really will provide a healthier work environment for our staff. So Deputy Chief Tim Day, he's just doing a wonderful job. And we just have to be patient because we'd like to move in tomorrow.
Sure.
But it takes work to get there.
Yes. So
Yeah.
how many stations will that be when?
We'll have 6 stations plus a headquarters building.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're kind of a medium-sized fire department, which is really, really nice because we can stay really connected to the community. There are economies of scale that we could see through regional partnerships. But we are active in regional partnerships in different ways that kind of allow us to do both things.
You know, when I was 6 years old and my family moved to Auburn, there was one fire station in Auburn.
Yeah.
And you know where that is.
I do.
It's where the McDonald's is on Auburn Way South right
right.
now, and Taco Bell. And that's why that's called Firehouse Square.
That's right. Yeah.
But we've come so far since then. And there's so many new programs and things that, fire service didn't think about, other than at that point in time, there were probably more fire calls than anything.
That's true. Right.
And now fire, I believe, is about 10% maybe of the calls.
Maybe even a little bit less. Yeah.
So one of the programs that VRFA leads is the CARES program.
Right.
And for those of you that don't know what CARES is and how it's making a difference in our community, Chief, can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And you're right. We are very proud of our CARES program. And I personally believe this program is the next iteration in the fire service. If you'll recall, emergency medical services was added to the fire service in the 1970s. And now EMS responses comprise over 70% of the calls that we respond to. CARES, we love our acronyms.
Oh, yes, we
in
do.
the government, don't we?
Yes, we do.
CARES stands for Community Assistance, Referrals, and Education Services. It's easier to say CARES.
CARES.
Yes. Currently, our team is comprised of 4 social workers, and I have some notes, actually. We also have some care navigators through a partnership with HealthPoint, and we have some interns from local colleges. So that's how our team is comprised
Love
of right
that.
now. Yes. And what wonderful people these are. They really fit seamlessly within our culture of first responders. These social workers and care and interns and care navigators are referred to folks by our firefighters, and they go out to low acuity or people that call 911 repeatedly. They help those people connect with services they truly need, like housing, addiction treatment, ongoing medical care. It's making a big difference for our vulnerable residents, and it's actually reducing the load on our emergency systems, including our 911 system and our emergency rooms.
So talk a little bit more about that. How is it reducing that?
What our social workers do is, so our firefighters will go out on these incidents, and they'll see some folks that they're not able to help. A fire truck or an aid car is literally a large toolbox.
Right, and it's for that emergency.
It's
that
for those
specific emergency.
types of emergencies. So our firefighters want to solve every incident that they respond to. They're very passionate about their work. You know that.
Yes.
And it's hard for them to go to the same incident repeatedly, knowing that they can't provide what the patient truly needs. So this is where our social workers step in, and they can truly dovetail their skills with the skills of our firefighters. And it's a really neat thing to watch. And this kind of goes into maybe a little bit more about what our CARES team does. And, today's fire service isn't just about lights and sirens.
That's
I
the
love
cool
them.
part.
No,
That's the cool part.
We really want to respond to what our community needs, right? And that's how we're growing. And frankly, a lot has changed since I started in the fire service.
I can only imagine.
We're dealing with large societal shifts, including things like mental health,
Yes.
rampant drug abuse,
Yes.
chronic illness, homelessness. We partner with your team.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just saw Kente this morning, big smile. We have social issues that don't always need a fire engine.
Well put.
Yeah. So our CARES program let us respond more appropriately, more compassionately, and importantly, more cost efficiently for the citizens. Our firefighting crews now are available for the types of emergencies where they're really intended to be utilized. And the people still will get the help they need, but they'll get it through a longer term program such as CARES.
It's a little bit more proactive, and it's not as reactive.
It's not as reactive. Yeah. It starts out as a referral, to be fair. So I'd like to share a success story that I think will help your listeners understand how this works. So one great example comes to mind, and this was shared to be by our lead social worker. A woman that was just struggling. She called 911 more than 60 times over the course of about a year. So it's twice a month. So our firefighters are going out there, and they know they can't provide the help that this person needs. She was calling for other reasons, right? And at first, it was really hard to make progress for our CARES team because she was a little bit resistant. And there's just a trust that you have to build, and that takes time.
That does. It's not immediate.
We all know it takes time to build trust. Yes. But our CARES team kept working with her. Over time, they helped her get reconnected with home caregivers. They coordinated medical and behavioral health care. They secured meal and transportation services. They even helped her get cataract surgery.
Oh, my gosh.
You know how important eyesight is just to be able to thrive.
Yes,
right?
To independence.
Yes, to independence. And so since last fall, she has not called 911 one time.
Wow.
So what a difference, right?
Yes.
And that's the power of sustained, compassionate follow-up. It changes lives, and it frees up our emergency resources for the calls that they're intended for.
I am such a huge fan of the CARES program, and not only is it reducing the number of 911 calls, but just think about the trauma that woman was having when she was dialing 911.
That's right.
60 times in a year. She's not feeling that trauma any longer.
That's right.
She knows that there's a plan. She knows that someone will be there, and the resources that she truly needs are there for her.
That's right.
It's such a great benefit for our communities, and I don't know that everyone knows about it. So really glad we're talking about it today, because it really does make a difference in our community.
It does. And not only does it make a difference for those individuals, but it makes a difference for our community as a whole. Mm-hmm. And it helps to apply the right resources to very nuanced and complicated problems that firefighters are one of the joys of the job is we get to go solve problems, right? But what we joke about, but it's actually true, we're the 15-minute fix to everything. Mm-hmm. And so we don't have the resources, nor are the firefighters themselves, nor are they intended to be there for those long, prolonged, nuanced, complicated. Yes, they go on complicated calls, but the complications that are associated with those societal changes, that's not a firefighter's work, and it shouldn't be. They should be available for car accidents, in urgent EMS calls, and fires even, right, when those do occur. So these CARES programs, I think they're going to continue to grow. The issue is funding a little bit. I think we're going to have to just keep working that problem, right, unemotionally, and look for resources from grants through King County. And there's just a lot of uncertainty right now, as you know. But
a lot with funding.
Yes. Yeah. But we're going to keep working the problem because we know we're making a difference, especially for individuals like I spoke of earlier.
Absolutely. And it takes some pressure off of emergency responders, right? So that they can focus if there is an emergency. They're not out on a call that could have been handled by one of the CARES team members. Yeah. They're there for those. I'd never thought about it before, but the 15-minute fixes.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So we want to get back in service. We want to stabilize the incident, and we want that fire engine or the aid car to get back in service quickly so it's available for the next call. So how do we do that? Well, we can bring somebody out. And I think for the Valley Regional Fire Authority, the next iteration for us in CARES, we've been adding CARES or social workers. Yes. Which is wonderful. But I think what will be helpful for us is actually to bring a firefighter along as well on those incidents, and they would be there to. So currently, our social workers will go out and make contact via phone and visit people's in their homes after the incident. If we had a firefighter and a social worker together, but a fire engine goes out on an incident and they are able to evaluate whether that person should go to the emergency room or not. We haven't talked about the effects on the emergency rooms yet.
Right.
But if there's a firefighter with a social worker and they come out and join that fire engine, they can release that fire engine and start working the problem.
Wow.
So
that's huge.
Yeah. So we just need to figure out how that looks. We're working on a plan right now. But we want to just get those aid cars and fire engines available for the next incident, and then really take care of those people that need it. But they need a longer term approach that's much more nuanced. Yeah,
I can't say enough great things about the CARES program and the team members that are on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And the fact that VRFA took that leadership role in making sure that we had a program like this. And I know it started with some grant funding.
That's right. Yeah.
And we partnered with South King Fire and Rescue.
That's right.
And we have taken over that role and very, very pleased by the work that's accomplished.
Yes, there are different iterations in King County. And so our CARES workers meet frequently. Our lead social worker, Carrie, she goes out and Stephanie, and they go out and see what the City of Seattle Fire Department's doing. The City of Seattle has different problems than the City of Auburn.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of similarities.
But nuanced differences.
Yeah. And they go out and visit I think they were in Kirkland the other day to see what they're doing. So they're really trying to study what's going on and see what we could apply back here to work on the problems that we're facing down here.
That's great.
Yeah.
So to move off of it onto a different topic, you have a new wildland home assessment program. What is that, and how can residents take advantage of that?
Well, gosh, that's big shift.
Big
right?
shift.
Yeah. So our wildland home assessment program is a new no-fee service for residents in areas near greenbelts or open spaces. Our specially trained team members can visit your property and give tailored advice like clearing brush, using fire-resistant building materials, or improving access for fire crews. It's about creating a defensible space and reducing risk before wildfire season hits. Again, it's a proactive approach, and that's what we're really all about. Yeah. So
it's, when people think about wildfires, and wildfire season, we don't typically think of Western Washington.
That's right.
We think of Eastern Washington. It's across the mountains. But I was astonished to find out that there are a lot more wildfires in Western Washington than I would have ever thought. So it sounds like this wildland home assessment helps with all of that.
That's right.
So it's getting the message out there to people.
That's right.
That there are those fires, right?
Yeah. So we work real hard with our social media team, and we know that, as you stated, wildfires are becoming more common on this side of the state. I think it was in 2020 when we had that Sumner grade fire.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yes, if you remember that. We've been fairly fortunate, and I am a bit superstitious, so sorry to your listeners. Yeah. Western Washington in the populated areas has been okay this year so far. We've had that Bear Gulch fire burning over on the Kitsap Peninsula in Olympic National Forest. And that's going to burn, unfortunately, just due to the type of that fire. It's going to burn until the snows hit. We just can't get in there and fight those types of fires because of the terrain and the type of materials that are burning. It's a different type of fire than you'll find in Eastern Washington because it involves just different types of fuels and terrain. So one thing I'd like to talk about a little bit is just the VRFA is uniquely experienced when it comes to wildfire response. recently retired Deputy Chief Rick Olson. One of our favorites, right?
Yes, love Rick.
Yep, he really got us going in this direction about 10 years ago after he went on a deployment to assist other agencies during wildfire in eastern Washington. Our primary response area is mostly urban and suburban here for the VRFA. But what we're learning is wildfires don't respect city limits anymore.
How rude.
I know, right? But you've seen it most recently and dramatically in the Palisades fire in California.
Oh,
now
gosh,
we're not California,
No.
and granted,
But we've one of the things, and I just interject here. Maybe a lot of people don't know that in these large types of fires, there will usually be a VRFA representation.
That's true. So we go into, and that's something that Rick Olson, Chief Olson, started for us in partnerships with Chief Swearingen and our local. We send brush rigs and tenders and even the full-size fire engine out on deployments frequently. We do that because for a couple of reasons. One is we want to get experience. We want our team.
Makes
we have a
sense.
red card team, and we want those folks to get experience in how to fight those fires so that when it's not if, when they occur here, we have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to put those fires out as quickly as possible. We even sent a fire engine all the way down to that Palisades fire.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have some really uniquely qualified within our organization. Firefighter Ben Teskey just got back from managing a whole helicopter crew. He brings to us some experience that's really unique. So he'll go out every year and manage helicopters and their bucket drops.
Oh,
yeah. So we have some really neat. Go on our social media and check it out. They're really cool pictures. So we've sent crews to support major wildfires statewide. We've sent them to Canada. We've sent them to California, Oregon. Locally, though, our focus is on prevention and mitigation. That includes public education, vegetation management, and making sure your homes are more resilient. So this is how you can help us. Your listeners can help us. Residents can help by signing up for home wildfire assessments. And the link is on our website. So just go to vrfa.org, and we'll come out to your home with those experts and help you prepare your home to be safer if a fire event does occur. And we've all seen it on the news when there is a wildfire in these different areas. Isn't it interesting now? There will be one home standing and a bunch around it are gone.
Yes.
That's because they took those preventative measures. It's that simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is this free of cost for the homeowner?
Yeah, so it's a no-fee program.
Okay.
So for the assessment, of
For the
course,
assessment,
we
sure.
can't pay for new siding for your home.
No, right. But the assessment itself is
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
That's
we'll
a great
come out with
service.
experts who are specially trained, and they'll spend a couple hours with you, and they'll even help you with other resources where you can continue. It's not something that you're going to accomplish overnight, but you can work toward it.
Sure.
And there are simple things you can do just to really knock off like the big risks, and then over a longer term, maybe make some changes to your home as resources allow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even simple things like not having too many plants and things up next to your home,
That's
because
right.
those can catch fire and then catch the house on fire.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, it's traditionally we used to, you love rhododendrons. I love rhododendrons.
Oh, I love them.
And our well before climate change and the temperatures have changed. And I'm not going to argue about what causes that.
Right.
And that's not my role. But our grandparents and our great grandparents, they planted the roadies right up next to the house, didn't they?
Right next to the house, because the beautiful color, it was just that lovely pop of color. But
yeah, and some privacy reasons, probably in front of the windows.
Sure.
Yeah, but unfortunately, just the vegetation right next to your house is a really high risk. But you can still have a lovely yard, just maybe by rearranging some of the ways that you landscape.
love that. And that's also the crime prevention through environmental design, SEPTED, same thing. You don't want those big bushes, those beautiful roadies. You don't want them right next to your house where someone can hide.
That's right. Yeah. And there's all sorts of reasons.
Yeah. Well, so moving on a little bit, you also are involved in regional leadership, not just the Valley region of Auburn, Algona, and Pacific, but you chair the King County Zone 3 Operations Chiefs Committee. So what is that, and how does that regional collaboration benefit us?
Well, thanks for asking that. And that was a previous position that I held, just to be clear. So the Zone 3, King County is divided up for the fire service into several zones. Seattle is Zone 5, East King County is Zone 1, and down here in South King County, we're known as Zone 3. So when I was the operations chief, I chaired that committee, and that was when I had that analytics, the data analytics. That's where they really came into regional partnerships for responses to those really low frequency but high risk fires. They're so important. There are a lot of resources needed when there's a large fire. At for instance, a warehouse or a multifamily unit. It would be a little bit unreasonable for any one city or area to fund enough firefighters and fire apparatus for those incidents that don't happen as frequently, but they're really high risk. So those partnerships allow us to bring in units from our neighbors so that when we have a fire here that we can't handle on our own, we have units coming in from our neighboring agencies that really help out.
I think we've had two unfortunately excellent examples of that right on Main Street.
That's right, yeah.
The Heritage Fire back on December 26th of 2017, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
And then just a couple of years later with the fire that destroyed the former Nelson's Jewelry in that entire building. And I was out there watching both of those, and I was just so incredibly impressed and proud to see. It was like a well choreographed dance, right? You're watching and you realize that it's not just VRFA that has responded, but you may see other fire authorities and other pieces of apparatus that it's like, well, I didn't know we had that type of apparatus. Turns out we didn't have it. It came from another fire service. And that is, you can't place a value on something like that.
That's right. And so that's where that regional collaboration comes into play. And so you really hit on some key things there. We, 6th Station Fire Department, and we cover Auburn, Algona, and Pacific, right?
Yes.
But we participate in what's called the South King County Fire Training Consortium to train our firefighters. This training consortium covers, I think we're up to 15 fire departments in King County that participate, that train together. And where this really helps out in what you saw when it looked like you described it as a dance or something that's it is choreographed. Because from the day that these folks are hired, they're working being trained by and learning everything together with firefighters from across all of King County.
So it's seamless.
So it's seamless. When we talk the same language, we have very similar tools on our fire apparatus. We know how to work with each other. Even if we have some minor differences in our equipment, we've practiced putting those together to be really effective. So it really starts from day one, and people come from all over the country to study what we've done because they can't figure out how to get it done. And sometimes it's unique. And sometimes you just kind of have to take that step and figure out some stuff later.
Yes.
And we've done that, and it's really paid off in spades for us.
Well, I believe that about South King County in general.
Yes.
Right. The mayors in South King County work really well together. And I think for so long, because we didn't have anyone else, we relied on each other.
That's right.
And we have learned and appreciated over time the differences, our strengths, the areas where we need someone else to help us. And we have made that a strength that we work so well together.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that is unique and something that we should all, be proud of and highlight.
Yeah. And so I know you know this, and I want to say that you've really set the benchmark for collaboration with other cities in South King County and in King County in general. All the different roles and committees that you've participated in, I've followed your lead in that, to be frank. So when it comes down to solving problems, I believe, and I think you do too, we're better together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no one who can do it all on their own.
That's right. Yeah.
It just isn't going to happen.
And people have experiences that we can learn from.
Yes.
Yeah. We just have to be open to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have to burn my finger on the stove to know that it's going to be hot because that's happened to someone else.
That's right. Yeah. Very
I can
good
bring
example.
other wisdom to the table, but I don't have to have my finger burnt in order to know that that's hot and I shouldn't touch it.
That's
So,
right. Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds simple, but it's really just an attitude of working collaboratively.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
And putting egos aside.
Yep.
And when you need help, you need help. And when someone else needs help, you're there to provide it.
That's right. Yep.
That's
Collaboration.
yes, yes. So, we've been talking about how important it is to build those relationships. And you were just talking about what that looks like for you as a leader. What type of messages do you give those in your leadership team, or how do you help them grow into that next level leader?
Wow. That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked it. Leadership for me starts with relationships. As you know, I was raised in a public service-oriented family, so I've always believed that trust and connection are the foundation of effective service.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's within our community of firefighters and other people that work for us, or the people that we serve, and that we do truly see that we serve the whole community. We are part of the community. I've also found, as I mentioned earlier, that curiosity is an underrated leadership trait. Over the years, I've intentionally stepped into roles across different roles of the fire service. Public education, technical rescue. I've mentioned some of these, and that range of experience has helped me to understand what our people need to do their best work and what our community expects from us. Inside of our organization, building relationships means being present. It means listening well and really creating a space for people to lead at every level. There's formal leadership, and I'm certainly in a formal leadership role. But when I bring new firefighters in, I tell them, congratulations, you are a leader in your community, because you are. And leadership happens despite rank.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it's about showing up consistently, being transparent, and working with partners and residents to solve problems together. We don't do this work in isolation, and it's all about connection. One thing I'd like to point out that South King County does really well. I had I can't remember which cohort, and boy, Casey Bray is going to have me for this. But I was part of the South Puget Sound Leadership Institute, and the book that they use,
I love
the
that
leadership
book.
principle, right?
Yes, love that book.
I don't know how to pronounce the author's names. Cruzes and Posner, I think
that's it.
Something like that. Well, there's one part of that book that really stuck with me, and I use it all of the time. And it's another acronym, and it's a ridiculous acronym. It's DWYSYWD. Do you remember what that means? I put you on the spot.
DWI, do what you
will say you will do.
Yeah.
It sounds super simple. It's not. You're in a leadership role. Do what you say you will do.
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes a lot harder to do than you think.
Yes.
And so there's two parts of this. And this is something that I talk up and down the organization through the ranks about, is if you say you're going to do so that trust piece and that relationship
That's how
piece.
you build the trust.
If you don't follow through on what you say you're going to do, that trust breaks and the relationship suffers. And it's much harder to repair a relationship than to build it right
sometimes
from the beginning.
Impossible.
That's right. On the flip side of that, don't overcommit. If you can't do something, sometimes it feels like you'll have this little thing in the back of your mind. It feels like I'll just say yes because it's easier.
Yeah.
But then really you're breaking trust in the long run because you're committing to something that you can't follow through on.
That you know you're not going to be able to do.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that's my leadership style in a nutshell.
I think that's perfect because you're right. And I'm guilty of that sometimes because I don't want to let someone down.
Right. Yes.
By saying no or I can't do it. So then I'm going to try and fit it in. And then in reality, I may disappoint someone if I'm not able to do it. So it's not disappointing to tell someone honestly, I'm not going to be able to be the one to help you with that, but I can find someone, or I can work with
That's
you
right.
to find someone.
Yep.
In the long run, just being honest up front is a much easier thing to do, and it's going to build more trust because you are setting some expectations and you are meeting your obligations.
That's right. That's 100% true. And boy, you got the fire chief on your podcast. He's going to admit to you on the podcast that I read Brené Brown too.
I love this.
Right?
I love this.
Yeah, and one of the quotes that resonates for me is, to be clear is to be kind as well.
Yes.
Both of those things, right? Don't overcommit and be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Clear and kind are not mutually exclusive.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fire service, we're pretty direct communicators.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, you have to be.
That's right. Yeah, it comes with the culture and the job.
There's no indirect when you're on the scene.
That's right.
If you're wearing the white helmet, right?
That's right.
There is no opportunity for you to be indirect. It has to be very direct, and I'm sure that spills over into the non-emergency times.
That's right.
Because that's how you're learning to be a good communicator.
Yeah, and that's interesting you bring that up, because we can get into trouble a little bit when applying that 15-minute fix. That's an area that I try to develop our future leaders. Don't apply the 15-minute fix. Don't deploy that method to problems that deserve maybe a longer approach.
Oh, yes.
So it's an elevation of your strategic thinking. Sometimes there's strategy built into everything we do to attack a fighter. We need to apply strategy to these more complex problems that are ongoing, and they deserve more time and effort than a 15-minute approach. So more strategy.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So are there any goals, any desires, things that you are hoping for in VRFA in the next couple of years? Or
one of our goals right now is finalizing our next 5-year strategic plan.
Mm-hmm.
We just recently completed a 5-year strategic plan, and I will tell you that I like to cook, but I need a recipe.
Me too.
Yes, but it's just cathartic for me.
It is, yeah.
But I need a recipe. I'm not
At
a
least
good,
the first time.
So I say I'm not a cook. I'm not a chef, right? I can follow a recipe, right? And so that's what a 5-year strategic plan is boiled down. And so we're really close to finalizing the next 5-year strategic plan. So excited to launch that. Another critical area, focus area, is the health and wellness of our firefighters. And we talked about that in the very beginning.
Yes.
This job does take
important.
a toll. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Physically, mentally, emotionally. So we're investing in cancer prevention strategies. We're investing in mental health support for our first responders. And we have a very well-established peer support program within our department. We want to make sure our personnel have the tools and the resources they need to thrive throughout their long careers. It's not just about taking care of the people we respond to. My job is to take care of the people that are actually responding to the people that need help as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I'd be able to ask this question today or even talk about this because it's still emotional for me, but I recently attended a memorial celebration of life for Deputy Chief Bill Mack, who had line of duty death honors.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was so honored to be there to celebrate the life of a man who gave so much, and then ultimately his life in line of duty with cancer. How as a fire professional do you deal with something like that?
Well, first of all, thank you for being at the celebration of life, and thank you for bringing up Deputy Chief Bill Mack. He had an influence like few others.
Yes.
His influence across the county, across multiple counties, across the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was reflected in his celebration of life. And he was such a special man, and he has such a special family.
Yes.
And I know that Jane and the boys are doing the best they can but he's gone too soon. And as you mentioned, that was considered a line of duty death because of the type of cancer that he contracted. So firefighters, for listeners, they are diagnosed with cancer at a much higher rate than the general population. And that has to do with the type of incidents that we go on. And another acronym, IDLH, immediately dangerous to life and health. So, the fires that happened in this up until the 80s were really a lot more natural products. And I'm not even sure that makes a difference because the science wasn't looked at back then the same.
Sure.
But today, most of the fires are based on carbon-based things. Our houses are made of literally carbon-based things, plastics and carpets and mattresses and all the things. And they just put off every single fire is a hazmat call. I don't know if people realize that. So we take a lot of precautions, but there's something that's still not working because our firefighters are getting sick at a higher rate than the general population. So we're taking a lot of steps to try to provide a safer work environment, and that includes making sure that firefighters wash their skin immediately after fires, that their bunker cure is professionally cleaned immediately after fires.
When they have another set, right?
They have another set for the next response so that they're ready to go. They actually don't go back in service. The firefighters that go inside of a building that's filled with smoke, they don't go back into service. They're not allowed to until they go back to the station and they take a shower and get those products of combustion off their skin, because a lot of the cancers are coming through transdermal or that smoke and carbon and all those particulates on their skin. So we want to make sure and wash those off as quickly as possible. There's still a lot of work to do there, obviously.
Yes.
And I am super committed to it. And Bill unfortunately, he's not the only one. I have several other friends in the fire service who are suffering right now. And so it's something those regional partnerships, we're all on the same page and we're working together to figure out to provide a safer work environment.
Well, that is critically important. We need our first responders to be safe and not expect to be exposed. I mean, the chemicals, yes, because it's a fire, you know that, but the protection that we provide should be expected to protect them and
That's
not
right.
continue to be harmful to them.
You're correct, right? And so we're going to keep working the problem.
Yes.
And we're determined to make sure that we, when people come into the fire service, they're healthy. And when they leave the fire service, they're leaving just as healthy, if not healthier. Yeah.
Amen. Well, this has been so enlightening, and I hope everyone that's listening has learned something new. Is there anything, Chief, that you'd like to share with the listeners that I didn't ask you, or anything that came up that you want to add to?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for having me today. Thank you for your leadership and support of public safety. You've been very consistent in that. Your support of the VRFA, your support of our firefighters, it's never ending. And your support of me personally. Quite frankly, you've been very supportive of my career, and I really thank you for that. You've demonstrated your commitment to public safety and your understanding that this work is hard. It is hard work, and I've seen you do it with the police as well. You recognize how difficult these roles are, but how important they are for your city and the citizens that you're serving. So I just really want to thank you for that. And to the citizens of Auburn, the support we get and feel from you, it's just amazing. Whether it's you waving at us when we're passing by in the fire truck, or when we're attending a community event and we get to high five your children or your grandkids. It's so much fun to go out there. It really makes a difference for us as well. So thank you for your support. That's really the spirit of community, and that's really what makes Auburn so special. So thank you for letting me be here today.
Well, thank you. And I agree that Auburn is special, but you are a special type of leader as well, Chief. So
thank you for saying that.
Thank you for spending your time with us, talking with us about all things Valley Regional Fire Authority. Your insights, I learn something new from you every time I have the opportunity to spend time with you, and I appreciate that. So hopefully everyone today, as I mentioned, has learned something new and interesting. And thank you for coming on the show today, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.